angels willing to hold us in their arms. When our worth of stone, our ashes, and we both passed on. Let forever mean forever and carry on.
Good afternoon. It has been a pretty busy, hectic day today. Wow. I've got video shot for the update on our solar panel system. I did get the video shot. I do not have it edited in together yet. I ran out of time to be able to do that. It's been one of those days. I had to play babysitter over at the Prepper Nurse One forums and keep an eye on the situation over there. And it is what it is. I had to look into some things concerning that. I talked about it yesterday on the monologue some, and I believe that one person, this is an assumption, a good assumption, that one person has two names over there, and since he already kind of led on to who he was really about with one of the names, I think he took it upon himself to use the other name to try to covertly cause more issues. So that's my assumption. I'm not saying I'm 110% correct, but I'm very good at detecting patterns in communication, and the pattern exact same. And that's something that people don't easily change, their writing patterns. So anyway, I had to play babysitter over there before, I'm one of those that I nip things in the bud right off. Boom, take care of it, be done with it. And that's the way it is. I keep telling folks, don't mistake my kindness for weakness. That's a big mistake, because I tell you what, I do my best to be a kind, decent, caring human being, but I am also one hell of an asshole. So it is what it is. I don't like to be that. I don't like to come off like that, but it's a matter of fact. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about that. That's not what today's monologue is going to be about. We done spent enough time yesterday on that, which I need to get that monologue video out as well. Today, what we have in store for you is I am going to be doing an extra long extended monologue. Now, I'm not really the one doing the monologue, actually. I'm going to be playing a video of something that was saddening for me, very saddening to me. But the video is roughly, let me look here, roughly 120 minutes, or an hour and 20 minutes, not 120 minutes, sorry, an hour and 20 minutes. You've probably seen it flash up on the screen there for a second. That would be Roy Potter. Today, at least from what he says, is his last episode, and so I would like to take today's monologue and put it of him in honor, in respect, in sadness. Now, unlike many of the other channels on YouTube, money is not a motivation. Subscribers is not a motivation for Roy. He's just done. He's just done. That man has battled lack of common sense from people for a long time. I think he said 10 years. I get it. I hope that he's just taking a break. I hope. But he seemed pretty certain that he's done. After the monologue, you get an extra special treat because Jen, aka Gangsta Giggles, is going to do a rant. So it's going to be kind of almost like a 2.5-part monologue today. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. Let's see. So I didn't get any more website work done as far as any updates on that. I haven't gotten back to that yet. Believe it or not, I was busy doing other things. But like I said, I did get out there. I did get some video shot for an update for the solar system that we've got going on. And I will tell you here, you'll get a little bit of information ahead of time right now. We now have the capability to pull in 7 amps worth of power to our battery banks. And I know that that's not like, 100 amp service. No, I get that. But that is a milestone for us. When I think of a halfway decent battery charger, just a regular battery charger, not a boost charger or anything like that, but just a halfway decent battery charger to charge a battery for a car, for instance, I typically, I won't bother with anything other than about like a 6 amp battery charger. That's typically what I get is a 6 amp battery charger. And to know that we are putting out, with our solar system, we are putting out more than one of those battery chargers, I'm impressed by that. So, and that's with wattage-wise, all 3 panels are supposed to be 60-watt panels, so you're looking at 180 watts. So I would have to do the math on that and see, but it wouldn't be, the math wouldn't directly carry over, because technically the panels put out 18 volts. Then you got a solar charge controller that drops it down to 12 volts. Well, technically 13.8 volts. And then, so to be real honest, you would have to calculate it. Let's see here. We'll do that real quick. Why not? Electrical calc. And I just use the online calculator now, so judge me. I don't care. And I don't care. Let's see. Watts to amps. Let's see. So 180 watts, and we'll do 13.8 volts. So you're talking 13 amps is what they're saying would be max. But again, I think you would have to use the 18 volts. Yeah, that would probably be a little more accurate there. So, yeah, that would probably be more accurate there. And the reason why I say that is because, although I was only bringing in 7 amps, it was the sun, it was past noon, so the sun had already started down from its apex, and the panels weren't tilted directly at the sun. So, yeah, I mean, I could have probably pulled out, I'm guessing, maybe 9 amps, close to that, if I would have angled my all 3 solar panels directly at the sun. I would have probably been able to pull out 9, maybe 10, possibly 10. But I was pulling out a very strong 7 with them just laying flat on the ground. And like I say, noon being past, the sun had already started, went past the apex and had already started on its way down. So, again, I'm pleased. I'm pleased. I would like to add another 100 watts when we can, but I'm not quite sure when we're going to be able to do that. That's another substantial, and for us, another substantial investment. I think I found some for in the $160-ish, $180 range. Some panels, some decent 100-watt panels, like semi-flexible. That's what I like. I'm all about semi-flexible panels. If it's not a portable, foldable panel, I like the semi-flexible panels. I just do. But again, if I were building a solar system that was going to be permanently deployed, like to power a house, like or an off-grid location, like Prep Nurse 1, no, I wouldn't go semi-flexible. I would go with hard panels, without a doubt. And you can get hard panels for a little bit cheaper than what you can semi-flexible. So, folks, if you do it right and you know what you're looking for, you can get a lot of bang for your buck, okay? But there's so much misinformation out there, and people trying to sell you, junk, that you really got to kind of know what you're doing. So that's why I'm doing these videos. That's why I'm trying to educate and inform the best I can so that individuals know these things. To me, that's important. To me, that's important. What was it, G.I. Joe used to say, knowing is half the battle, right? I think that was G.I. Joe. I don't know. I didn't watch it. To be honest, I didn't watch it. But it seems like I recall that was his motto. Anyway, so let's get going on. We're going to have a long monologue by playing that video today. And then with Gangsta Giggles rant after the monologue. I'm looking forward to that. So anyway, let's go through the regular stuff. I'll get right into playing Roy's video, and then we'll close the monologue up, and we'll get to Jen, and we'll go from there. So anyway, Amazon affiliate, we're picking up. $15.89 is where we currently are. So I want to say thank you to those that participate in our Amazon affiliate program. For those that don't know, there's a link in the description of the videos. That's our Amazon affiliate link. If you shop Amazon and you click that link to go to Amazon to purchase your items, it will give us a little credit when you make your purchase. It doesn't cost you anything more. Throws a little bit our way, and it goes right back in to whether it be projects to review. I hope to get into doing some do-it-yourself type of stuff this summer. Or if we need something for the show itself, that's where that money goes. So, again, thank you for those that participate in that. You can also go to our website, thewatchmannews.com. By the way, I'm currently building a new website. It's going to be awesome. I was discussing some of the features we're going to have on it with Jen earlier today. It's going to be awesome. But anyway, you can go to thewatchmannews.com. We've got search boxes here. You can put it whatever it is you want in that search box. And you click go, and it will open up the Amazon page with your search results. And there you go. Once you make a purchase, it will give us credit for the sale. And it won't cost you anything more. And we highly appreciate it. So that's the other way. And then if you don't shop the monster that's known as Amazon, but you'd like to help out, you can go to thewatchmannews.com. You can click the donate button in the menu there, and it will take you to our PayPal donation page. And that will say Transforming Disabilities at the top. That is us. It will say Purpose the Watchman News donation. And again, that goes towards either, prepping things to be able to review on the show, or, just wherever. Sometimes we've got some very wonderful people here. Sometimes they donate for a specific reason, and that's what's bought with it. When somebody donates and there's a specific reason behind that donation, that is where it goes. So it's never required at all, never even expected, but it is highly appreciated. We love you guys. We absolutely love you guys. So anyway, that takes care of that stuff. Let's see. Let me get those windows closed. And trying to think of what direction. Let me play Roy's video, and then I'll do the news headlines after Roy's video. So how's that sound? So again, it's not a short video. I'm going to play it in its entirety with the exception of the intro and the outro, because songs will give us a strike. So with the exception of the intro and the outro, we will play the entire thing. I am beyond sad. Lieutenant Colonel Roy Potter is an important voice in this fight, a very important voice, and losing him is a very big deal. And it saddens me. I completely understand why he's done. I get it. I completely understand. But nonetheless, we all have at least some bit of selfishness in us. And Roy's one of those people that I would want to keep around no matter what. So I will claim that selfishness on my part. I'm going to miss Roy. And Hell, I already do. So anyway, without any further ado, Roy had put out this video today. It's titled June 13th, 2019, Point of No Return. God bless you, Roy.
It is the 13th of June. And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is the 13th of June, 2019. I'm Roy Potter. Welcome to this, the last presentation of the Potter Expositor. Yes, I've decided to throw in the towel for a number of reasons. And none by any pressure from anyone. It's just that I finally am realizing, as I have several times during the course of this attempt over the last few years, that it's really pretty obvious that things are not going to change. And while we should keep a voice out there demanding that governments be held accountable and that corporations not become more powerful than the people themselves, it's pretty obvious when you look at the whole spectrum of what's going on that's not going to happen no matter what we do. So does that mean that I'm giving up? Well, what it means is that, as I've said several times in the past, I'm tired of repeating myself. It's the same situation time and time again, just slightly different circumstances. You can't believe anything you hear, and it used to be that you could believe about half of what you see, but that's not even the case anymore. And what's going on in the Persian Gulf right now is an example of that. Again, not that I have any fondness for the mullahs of Iran. I do not. I have a problem with Islam across the board. Just as I do homosexuality. You might say, oh, how are those related? Well, they are, because they try to promulgate themselves. We keep going for this diversity program, multiculturalism, denying our own heritage, our own understandings, and submitting to others, bowing down to them, and being afraid to speak our mind. And when that happens, you lose your life. So I just don't see the point of it anymore. President Trump is out there attacking the Second Amendment, not doing really anything about the First. We keep hearing about all of these things that are going on behind the scenes to go after the coup plotters, who are really coupping against us. It's really a coup d'etat against constitutional republic and the American, I don't want to say it like even the liberals do. I'll just leave it that way. A coup d'etat against the constitutional republic. You know, democracies, republics, those types of things start out real good. But then they devolve into this disgusting mass where they have to start adventurism and promoting by war, etc., their empire, because that's what it becomes, is an empire. So the Constitution was put in place because the founders knew that was the way things headed, and they tried to strap down the federal government with a constitution that said, these are the only powers you have, and I'll be damned if the American people, because they want their hands in the cookie jar for all these little goodies, and they let the corporations take over, the Constitution means nothing anymore. I even hear the Democrats, right? They're out there saying, oh, the Constitution, they don't give a damn rat's ass about the Constitution. It's just another way to fool you. Bump stock bans, silencer bans. You know, Trump doesn't have an internal moral compass. He doesn't know a damn thing about the Constitution, apparently. Flies by the seat of his pants with no guidance. Turns his back on the spiritual... I didn't mean this to be a Trump bashing session. He turns his back on the spiritual help that is given to him. He listens to people that he puts in his administration that are against all of the same principles that he says he believes in. And as you know, a week ago, week and a half ago, I found out that he put in the name of Canterbury for the ATF as ATF director. And that's really when I threw in the towel. And I think if anybody saw that, I think you'll know, because I told even my Republican insider, if Trump puts one more person in his administration that is not a pro-constitutionalist, who is a pro-MAGA type person, I can't handle it anymore. Instead of doing the right thing for the American people, literally, he says he wants to push for homosexual rights across the world. What about the Christians? You know, Jay Sekulow, I have it in here somewhere. Jay Sekulow, who is his attorney. Let me read this to you. I wonder where this went. No, we're going to push homosexual. I hope you understand what happens, and you can see it in history. When these things are allowed to exist is one thing, because nothing's going to change that. And you don't want to murder people because they're doing this stuff, although that's happened in the past. But if you start promulgating it, if you start allowing it to take hold into your society, it destroys it. And now you're going to push it to the world? Trump holding the LGBTQ flag out there during his campaign? Who the hell is he listening to? Ivanka? Kushner? You know, in the Torah, it's forbidden. What the hell is Kushner up to? I can only assume it's one thing. It's the destruction of the American and Western society and the values that allow a society to grow in a healthy environment. I can't look at it any other way. Let me read you what Jay Sekulow said. ISIS has killed thousands of Christians worldwide. What will it take for world leaders? Why don't you start in the White House, Jay? What will it take for world leaders to recognize these atrocities as genocide? Your voice can help. Yeah, really. Well, sign our petition and consider a donation today. With your help, we can protect persecuted Christians. Well, like I said, I think you better start with the man who controls your paycheck, Jay. Now here's another example. This is a slightly different thing. This is from Clara Lopez on Twitter. Remember I told you that there's a problem with the military. And it's in the upper brass primarily, but it's starting to filter down through the ranks. The same mindset, the same deceptions, the same lies, the same goals, and they're not good ones. Clara Lopez says this, looks like the U.S. Army War College, also known as a bunch of limp spaghetti, isn't that the truth, just bailed on Raymond Ibrahim's scheduled talk there about his superb new book, Sword and Scimitar, Strength and Wisdom. And then she has a little bite there where she says, but not so much at the U.S. Army War College. In other words, they're more concerned about being politically correct than recognizing what's really happening in the world, and they're using it to... It's out of control. It is totally out of control, and I'm not going to sit here and be like, Sean Hannity saying, oh, everything's coming down, it's an avalanche of justice. Well, I'll tell you what, if Barr and Trump don't take this thing to its necessary conclusion, which is a total cleanup of the intelligence community, as I've called for how long? I don't care what they do, it'll all be lost. They better be serious. They better not stay the hand of justice from Clinton and Obama on down to some clerk sitting in an intel office that was part of this thing. But you know what? I don't think that's going to happen. Like I said, they're going to take out a handful of people. Probably McCabe, Strzok, Page, maybe Comey. I'm not even sure they're going to get Brennan. I hope they prove me wrong, but you know what? That's not going to be enough. Even if they do that, do you realize it's not going to be enough? I've told you that the FBI has had a problem from the for at least 3 decades, if not from the very beginning, and this entire intel community has had a problem. I had a deal here where I forget his name. Sorry, like I said, I didn't really plan on this show as far as how I'm conducting it at this point. But let me see if I can find this. I forget his name. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, I think it's this one. Yes, it's in the National Review. Okay, the FBI, the rank and file is part of the problem, because as this documents, this is from Victor David Hansen. If you don't know who he is, he's a well-known historian, and the title of the piece is "The FBI Tragedy: Elites Above the Law." It's the National Review article. It was written June 11th, 2019. And let me read you just one part of this, okay? One little small part. Fairly or not, the current FBI tragedy is that an American citizen should be duly worried, yes, sir, about his constitutional rights anytime he is approached by such senior, he says, FBI officials. That is not a slur on the rank and file, but the legacy of the supposed best and brightest of the agency and their distortions of the Bureau's once professional creed. The problem is, as Nunes said yesterday when he was having that hearing, and he had two FBI agents there, former FBI agents, and he brought up the problem in the FBI doing these counterintelligence operations against American citizens. He said, I noted that they didn't even blink. They didn't have anything to say about it. He says, and then there's another story here where it talks about, just as I've said, that this disease has promulgated itself inside of our agencies, inside of our government, inside of our institutions. It's not just in the colleges, ladies and gentlemen. It's at the U.S. War College, as I just showed you, and it's in our intelligence and law enforcement agencies. Not just in our schools and in our corporations and in our social media platforms. Is there a way to clean it up? Well, it's not going to be easy, and I don't think anybody, including Trump, has the guts to do it. So what do we do? Let me just say a couple of other things while I've got this up here, because there were a couple of other things I wanted to mention. The supremacy clause is always touted by people in the federal government and those who want this power as all federal laws take supremacy over anything else. And that is false. It is not true. Let me read this to you. This is the 10th Amendment Center, but let me just read what they say. Article 6, Clause 2 of the Constitution is known as the Supremacy Clause. This clause in our Constitution is often misquoted, misapplied, and misinterpreted. Those who support an overgrown and supreme federal power like to use this clause to beat the states and the people into a powerless submission to every asserted federal authority. Is that really what the designers of our Constitution meant when they placed this clause in the Constitution? Let me read it to you. I'm having a problem here. There we go. Let's see if it'll come down here now. Oh, that's just great. Okay, what's going on here? Let me try it again. Okay, well, it's disappeared. Basically, I don't know how that happened. Basically, what it says is that the federal laws that follow the dictates of the Constitution are the supreme law of the land. That's where the supremacy comes from. Not in every act of Congress, not in every bureaucratic decision and diktat. If it doesn't follow the Constitution, then the supremacy clause does not apply. And I've said it before, Marbury versus Madison explained that and settled that supposedly for all time. But just like we're seeing with Comey and Brennan and all of these people, even Nancy Pelosi said, oh, the Constitution. But they don't believe in it at all. They're pulling the wool over your eyes. And I'm afraid the IG has now, the IG report has been delayed again, supposedly because they've discovered some things that Wray was hiding on Comey. The first FISA warrant. Do you really believe that nonsense after all this time? I sure as hell don't. And by the way, Judicial Watch, I was listening to Tom Fitton the other night. What did he say? And he's frustrated too. It's very obvious. He says, you know what? Look at our briefs. Look at our filings. We have all of the evidence in there that a grand jury could use. Is Barr using it? Has John Durham decided he's just off on his own, he's going to do it? Remember I said Barr is interested in saving the institutions over anything else. I'm not sure this is going to happen, ladies and gentlemen, not the way you're thinking. I would hope so. I pray so. There's no reason why somebody shouldn't have been arrested at this point. Oh, well, the grand juries are going on. They're sealed indictments. Yeah. Okay. Let me cool down on that. I didn't mean this to be a Trump bashing session. It's not. What it is, it's a bashing session against what we have become as a nation, as a people. And the debauchery and the reprobates that are out there in our society and what they're pushing, even government entities on infanticide. And I told you, if this LGBTQ thing got out of hand, I'm not saying that heterosexuals can't be bad too, but you do this LGBTQ thing and you start promoting it, and that's a downhill slope, and it goes fast. It's like a bobsled. And that's exactly what's happened. I don't care if they're that way, but it's being pushed, promoted, pushed on our children. Look at the drag queen stuff that's going on in the schools. And that's real overt. That's real obvious. It's the subtle stuff that's dangerous. And it's all over. And we're supposed to be, we love diversity. We love multiculturalism. You should love your own culture. Respect others, but love your own. And we've sold ourselves down the river. We've sold, just as I've said for a long time, sold our birthright for a bowl of pottage. OANN's Liz Wheeler always has great commentary. She's talking about Governor Northam and his position on abortion and calling for gun control. Northam, who goes along with murdering babies, is talking about gun control. Listen to what she said. She has a way with words. This is her talking, quote, Governor Northam, the number of lives taken by abortion are far more than can be saved by gun control. Isn't she brilliant? Let me say that again. Governor Northam, the number of lives taken by abortion are far more than can be saved by gun control. Where are our priorities? That soft-spoken evil man not only wants to kill your kids, he wants to take the means of your self-protection away. Isn't that just the way it is? So, Ocasio-Cortez and Bernie Sanders, they're pushing socialism, thinking we'll do it the right way this time. It's never been done the right way. It's resulted in murder, mayhem, and destruction everywhere it's ever been tried. Oh, but no, we're not going to pay attention to history because we're going to trust the people that are going to be in there this time. They're going to do it right. No, that's never the way it works. You can never trust a person. Never put your trust in the cult of personality. You tie them down in the chains of law on the government. And even that fails after 250 years. What do they think? Are you kidding? Not only are these people stupid, they're dangerous. By design. Nunes, I'm going to back up on that again. He was talking again, like I told you, about the FBI agents. He doesn't believe that the rank and file is good. He thinks that it's permeated this idea in the agency at the top has permeated down through. And that's how things work in the real world, ladies and gentlemen. Not the pie-in-the-sky bullshit that Sean Hannity talks about with the rank and file, 99% of it being good. No. And I've said this for years, and it's going to be our destruction. It is the secret society we have to be most concerned about, and they've proven it to us. Victor Hansen makes the point that Comey and McCabe and Strzok, these guys just didn't come out of nowhere and take over the FBI. They came up through the bottom. It's throughout the organizations, and it's even in the military, as I've said. So we see all these machinations, however you want to say it, on, trying to secure our border. I've said it from the start, since 2011. There's no way to do it without the military there. And it's being proven. Oh, we're gonna sanction Mexico? Did you hear the Guatemalan president talk the other day? I'm sorry, he was the prime minister. Did you hear that? We keep blaming this whole thing on the Guatemalans, primarily. You know what he's saying? He's saying, wait a minute. We're losing our people. We don't want this. We have nobody to work in the fields anymore. They're all leaving. And you know why? And this is him talking. Because Mexico is encouraging them to go. He says, we're being shown as the bad guys here. It's not us. Mexico, your enemy, United States, which I have talked about for quite some time now. The cartels took over as an insurrection caused by our government, our CIA, and certainly Holder, Fast and Furious. Do you remember that? Mexico is our enemy. So the Guatemalan prime minister says, no, you're saying this all wrong. Mexico is encouraging, they're providing them with this opportunity, and they're pushing for it because they make money off of it. How? Because Soros and these people are giving these refugees, supposedly they're not, they're illegal immigrants, money that they then spend on their way north in Mexico, plus the money that the coyotes and the drug traffickers and the human traffickers make. We still don't know what happened in Las Vegas. Then we have this shooting at the Virginia Beach place. We have all of these things happening. Have we found out the truth of any of that? Oh no, but we're going to ban bump stocks, and we're going to ban silencers, and eventually we're going to say you can't have a magazine more than 10 rounds. Then they're going to say you can't have semi-automatic rifles. Then they're going to say you can't have lever actions. Then they're going to say you can't have pump. You can't give an inch, Trump. These people are the enemy of truth and freedom. And you telling Botswana how wonderful they are because, they're not going to execute homosexuals anymore. Oh, that's real nice. But as Jay Sekulow said, what about the Christians? Who's speaking up for them? We're destroying ourselves, and I just don't see any point in trying to make a point of it any longer. Okay, I'm going to play something here real quick. Let me look at my deal here for a minute. Oh, I better say this. Immigrants are coming by and large, the illegal immigrants are by and large coming unarmed. We are starting to see cartels and coyotes armed as they come across the border. There have been some incidents with our military where they've been disarmed, etc. See how serious this is? Those are called reconnaissance in force. Those are called, let's see how they react. So most immigrants are coming unarmed. But they can, because there are weapons caches here by ISIS, by Antifa, etc., that they can pick up later. I told you about an incident here about a month ago where I was in the city and I saw a vehicle with no license plates. It was a white Tahoe, Chevy Tahoe, no license plates. Two immigrants, illegal immigrants, and it was obvious. And they're throwing these bulletproof vests. They were looking at them in the front seat, but the back was loaded up with them. There are weapon stashes in this country. They don't need to show up with weapons. They'll get all they need here. What happened in Las Vegas, Trump? Lies, deceptions. You can't keep doing this. We're praying that your eyes are open and that you receive the spirit of discernment and you turn away from it. I wish Don Jr. was president. This is after Trump told me that he appreciated what I was doing a year ago. By the way, it was when I was really, really coming out against, well, I'd already come out against Q. I think that was actually what part of that was about. That and the situation on the border and his people and his, well, it was a number of things. But I'm not looking for accolades. I'm not going to sit here and say nice things so he'll pat me on the back. I'm trying to tell you we're in an awful situation. It's getting worse. We have diseases coming across the southern border. Do you remember how the Europeans killed off the indigenous peoples here? They brought smallpox over and gave on blankets and they gave it to the Indians. That's exactly what's happening now. The exact same procedure is happening now. There is no concern for human life anymore, as long as we win our way. And that's how the leftists view it, and unfortunately that's how our MIC, Military Industrial Intelligence Complex, operates too. It's disgusting. We are on the road to destruction, ladies and gentlemen. This is not a panacea. I'm sorry, Trey Smith. It didn't turn out the way you thought, and it's not going to. Not unless Trump makes a 180-degree turn right now and stops compromising on the Constitution. Where are the groups of soldiers or police that are protecting infants in Virginia, in New York, or making sure that those who stand up against our First and Second Amendment rights are put down? Words, words, words. And I'm not sure that the bad people in this coup are going to be put away, other than a few just to be made examples of. As Nunes said last night, it's all corrupted. We are at the point of no return, I'm afraid. Let me play this for you as a little interim. After you hear me rant and rave the way I am here right now, let me just play this for you, okay? Well, I'm out climbing in the mountains today, just basically south and a little, mostly directly south of the Great Salt Lake. Just had to get out in the mountains and get away from all the craziness, the inconsistencies, the hypocrisies, the struggles for power, struggles for money and possessions and rule over people, and killing of babies. You know, I've talked about Tulsi Gabbard before. I like a lot of what she says. I do. I understand it was when she went over to, I guess it was Iraq. She was in a medical unit there, I guess. I thought she was an MP, but you know, sometimes you do other things. And I guess while she was there, even though she grew up not wanting to be involved with, you know, well, not involved, but give a lot of attention to homosexuality and abortion, I guess while she was over there, she decided that it wasn't good for governments to dictate who you love or reproductive rights, called reproductive rights. And I can see why you don't want government getting involved in it, you know, that makes sense. But I don't want to have to pay for those things either, or promulgate them or promote them, and that's the real problem. And I'll talk about that someday, I guess. Abraham put up with Lot being in Sodom and Gomorrah, but he sure didn't promote that lifestyle. Well, anyway, one thing I'd say to Tulsi is, you know, she said that,
it's a woman's right to have an abortion. Well, earlier in her life she learned that you're not your hand. You can cut it off and throw it over there, and that's not you. You're still you. And cut off your leg, throw it over there. You're still you. Think about this, Tulsi. You take that baby out of you and you throw it over there. It's still not you. As a matter of fact, the placenta is a blood barrier between the mother and the child. The two really are separate beings. But I know that's going to be an issue. So think about it as when you were told by your spiritual teacher that your hand is not you. Your leg is not you. Do you have a right to cut it off and throw it away? Maybe, but it's still not you. Just give that some thought. And remember that placenta, there's no blood exchange between the mother and the child. That's all I got to say today. Turn this around, I guess. I don't even know if I'm going to post this. Not sure I really have any reason to. I know with the light out here, you really aren't going to be able to get a whole lot of detail. Some peaks off in the distance. Yeah, that's the Great Salt Lake out there. Yeah. Alright, done here for now.
Okay, that's the first one. I figured that would probably say a few things I needed to say too. There's no way that I'm going to enumerate the list of the evils that are being done today. The lack of repentance, the lack of even a consciousness or a conscience. I don't like having to do this, to be this negative. I remember Carol saying, my wife who died in 2008, she says, Roy, try not to be so negative. But if you preach the positive, and I hear about positive thinking. I saw Cernovich the other day where he says on Twitter, and he says, you got to see the good things and then push those. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't disagree with that. But this evil is growing stronger by the day. They don't understand anything but the word no and the force to back it up. I had a DM yesterday. Somebody asked me to address, where's the resistance? Roy, apparently he's a law enforcement officer in California. He says, Roy, where's the organized resistance? And he says, and I'm not saying a violent thing, but we have to be ready. We have to start organizing to get ready for this because it's coming down. Even he understands. I don't know who he is. For all I know, he could be, Fed trying to bait me. I don't think so. But because they've done that more than once. They're evil, ladies and gentlemen. You see how evil they are. I'm not saying this individual is, but the lengths that they'll go to. Look what they did to General Flynn. And I could name a lot of other things. But enumerating it doesn't seem to help because Americans, even my good audience, Americans, have such a short-term memory. And admittedly, that's because this is a military operation, this information war. They throw so much at you that you can't You can't process what happened an hour ago, much less what's happening a week ago. And it's all by design. The information age has been used to overwhelm us because we've lost our sense of value. We've lost our sense of right and wrong. We've lost our sense of principle, and we follow the cult of personality. I have a very dear friend, police officer that I've known for decades now. He and I served together on a department. And he's moved up the chain at the state level now, but I stayed with him for a few days over a weekend. And I think we who are honest with ourselves realize that this isn't going to turn around. Not voluntarily. And not with the leaders that we have. Nunes is doing great, Meadows is doing great, Jordan's doing great. And we have those people. But I'm not sure that there's anybody else out there that really cares. There are individuals here and there, but like I said, they've had at least 3 decades to mount this offensive against us. And believe it or not, yes, it is a spiritual war. It is a conscience, spiritual battle. And at this point, I'm not saying the ultimate ending of the whole thing, but at this point, they're not just winning the battles, they're winning the war. And you don't want to hear that. You want to hear positive talk. But I'm not in the business of stroking you or sugarcoating things. I had another person comment the other day that I just saw it. Like I said, I don't usually see my comments. I think it was in the chat. I don't remember. Potter, he vacillates too much for me. He's too much back and forth. As I said, I'll call it out good when I see it good, and I'll call it out bad when I see it bad. Nobody had to be here during this entire thing. If you feel like that you can't look at the world through the lens of truth and what's really happening, you didn't need to listen to me. I vacillate? No. It was like with the Q thing. I gave it credit when it first came out. It looked like it could very well be somebody. Like I've said, the intelligence people used ads in newspapers to send messages. It was possible. So it wasn't that I was against it right at the beginning, but when I saw what was happening, when I saw the cultic behavior, when I saw the misapplication of military terms, I knew it wasn't who they said they were. They weren't who they said they were. But because I'm not consistent in patting people on the back all the time and saying how great things are, people think that I vacillate. No, I was trained very early on to look at the reality of a situation and to adjust accordingly. And if you don't do that, you're going to have problems. The country's having problems because of it. It's a big thing to admit that you went down the wrong path. It's difficult. Turn around and go back. My hike in the mountains yesterday is a good example. I'm out there and I think I'm following this one area and it comes up on, I can't get across. So what I have to do? Well, that was a wrong decision, so I had to go back and try another way. If you don't understand these things, go out and walk around in the mountains for a few hours. I think you'll find out what I'm talking about. Okay, so this is the last time I'm doing this for sure. My Republican insider friend, he called me last night, but I didn't see it until this morning. Because I told him, I said, this is it. I'm not going down this road anymore. Let me give you some names, like I have in the past, of people that I think that you can go to for good information. I have a lot of respect for these folks, and there are more than I can remember right now, but I wrote a few down. Dan Bongino and his Rival, I guess you could say, Lee Stranahan. They're really not on separate teams. Stranahan's done a lot of work, and he doesn't get credit for a lot of what he does. But in reality, Dan and Lee should link up. The Black Conservative Patriot, excellent. Headlines with a Voice, excellent. The Still Report, excellent. Corbett Report, I'm not sure how you say his name, excellent. American Intelligence Media, despite their apparent New Age take on things, I have a lot of respect for them, even though they don't have a whole lot of respect for me. H.A. Goodman is another one. And there are far more. Alex Jones still, even though my Republican insider says, man, he's turning into a madman, you know. Well, that's stress. That's years of stress and realizing that, you know, things are in bad shape. He's having a form of PTSD, but I understand why. David Knight's great on his team. Rob Dew, Owen Schroyer is a little bit more like Alex and myself. We get pretty animated, emotional, boisterous. But Owen's done a lot of good work. So there are a lot of good folks there at InfoWars. They certainly have a better handle on things than CNN, for instance. And there are others, but those are the ones that come to mind right now. So this is it. I'm going to play one more thing here. A lot of you who don't like religious stuff, tough luck. Like I said, I call it like I see it. What you'll see here, I'm not going to explain much about it. Those who have eyes to see and ears to hear can take it and run with it as they want. I think it's self-explanatory, even though the different words that are in here I don't explain. I'm not going to. Like I said, if you want to know, go look it up. I'm not using the standard type of script because it wouldn't print on my on my word processing program when I tried, so I had to switch the script, so it's not exactly the way it should be, but you'll be able to make it out. And this is my last message, formal message, for these reasons that I'm going to show you now. I will go to chat afterwards for a short time. I want to thank everybody who stayed with me for these last, what is it? It's been, it's going to be 10 years, because I started really in 2009. I mean, as far as being public and talking about problems in the government, I've been doing that since the 70s, late 70s, early 80s. But the information that I've been doing on YouTube, I started in 2009. And it was actually about February of 2009, I believe. So it's been just slightly over 10 years. And 10 is completion. And I've said this before, but this time I really mean it. Because they're not listening to us, ladies and gentlemen. They're listening to themselves. Yes, Nunes is doing a great job, Meadows. But unless they collar a lot of these people in the intelligence community, in the state. I think I was one of the first ones to point out that the State Department was a problem, and I can't give you a whole lot of information on that, but that's coming out now. If you listen to Dan Bongino, I understand that the State Department was in on this, obviously. I mean, that was so obvious at the first. I actually had to work against the State Department when I was in the military. I understand exactly what the problem is. But unless we get the military on the border, and unless Trump is serious when if and when John Durham and Barr actually get into the organizations there and get all this information, there's no sense for this delay. Judicial Watch has everything submitted that Barr and Durham need. They can get more, of course, because they've got access inside things, but the basics are there from Judicial Watch and even from American Intelligence Media, but definitely from Judicial Watch. There's no reason for this delay. The IG report delayed again. I'm sorry, I don't buy it. Get ready, ladies and gentlemen, be able to stand on your own, because nobody else is going to help you. I don't care what they tell you. Okay, like I say, some of you aren't going to like this. Just take it in. What I am going to do is after this is all done today, and it's all uploaded, and I know everything's cool, I will then unload both in the mountain video that I have, that short one where I talk about, being in the mountains there, and I will also upload this one, and these will be separate. So even though these two videos are inside this live stream, they'll also be out there for you to download, just if you want to. I mean, you probably won't want to, especially after you see this next one. I don't think highly of myself. I'm not doing that. I'm weak. I've had a lot of experience. But I know what's expected. I may not be able to accomplish it, but I know what's expected. I know the difference between right and wrong. And I could tell you some other things which the Spirit restrains and constrains me. Not that I'm perfect. I'm not. But they who call evil good and good evil, I see them. I know who they are. So, look at this and ponder. Like I said, this will be up separately too. You don't have to strip it out of the live stream here. Here we go. I'm Roy Potter, a former U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel. Welcome to the Potter Expositor. So that's it. Okay, I'll take a few comments on the chat if you'd like. I'm just going down here checking what we've got. Hopefully it's still going on. Yeah. Okay. Looks like we're still up and running. I thought maybe we lost you there. Okay. Dame of Dichotomy. Potter, why were you excommunicated? Because they are powerful, lying pieces of shit. That's why. And I'd like to elaborate any further. Oh, it was for plural marriage, yeah, that's for sure. Which is, and I wasn't a member of a cult. Well, I guess the Mormon Church, in some regards, is considered that. But that's not a secret game of dichotomy. It's one of the reasons why I understand things the way I do. I want to know why the marriage system of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Gideon, David, Solomon is denigrated in today's society, but the things that were considered the disgusting thing and worthy of death, like homosexuality, is pushed, and you don't seem to understand the difference, which is another reason why I'm done with this. Call evil good and good evil. You know what? You think you're so smart, Dame? You know nothing, and you make light of that which you do not understand. Jesus would just turn away from you. Say, don't, I will not throw my pearls before swine. Go into the herd of swine over there and run off the cliff, because that's about as much intelligence as you got, and that's another reason. The Roman Empire did a good job 2,000 years ago, and you don't even understand that. And it's still working at it today. while so many out there are killing their kids and their posterity, I increased. There's a righteous use of things, and there's an unrighteous use. I don't suppose you ever read where Paul said, all things are lawful unto me, but not all things are expedient. But you never read that, did you? High and mighty self-righteous. Go to hell. Well, I'm not even going to get into that. Colin Byerly, you want to say man was asexual until God made a partner? Okay. I'm not going to argue that. You're not correct. You know, how did we get off on this subject? I had a Hebrew sage that I took my Hebrew studies from, and I won't get, because most of you won't know. I'll say a certain word and you'll go, you're in black magic. No. Because you believe the preachers out there who want to keep you from the truth. Anyway, this particular Hebrew guy said, they were, the split between the man, the male and female, and you don't even understand what you read. No. And if you don't have the understanding of who and what you are, you will never have the vision to get back to the right place. That's all I'll say about it. I'm not going to get into that argument. I'm not saying gay people are our enemy, Suzig. Then you're totally misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm saying that the evil uses them to bring you down. If you accept it, if you allow it to be promulgated, scientifically it's never been proven that they're born that way, but I'll give it to them. Let's say that they are. We're all born with these shortcomings. The idea is that you overcome them. That you recognize what they are and overcome them. The problem is that now it's being used as a tool of destruction by the evil ones. To destroy your posterity. To debase the human, to debase mankind, to have a hatred for men and women. Aren't we hearing that today? Don't call people men and women. Don't call them mother and father. Don't call them wife and husband. Don't call them girls and boys. Give them all these other genders. You've got to understand whether or not they are brought into that lifestyle by accident or whatever. It's being used as a weapon now, as it always has been from the day this place started. Metatron 737. If my life is cut short, it will be for Jesus. Okay. I'd take it a step further. I would say for the principles Jesus espoused. Okay? You are to take that name upon you, which means you become like him, which means you inherit all that he inherits. If you become like him, if you see, if you open your mind and your heart to the principles. You can be fooled by personalities. If there was a second coming of Jesus tomorrow, and he was hailed as that, and he was teaching that homosexuality is okay, sorry, he might look great, he might be in glory, he might be everything you imagined, but he might slip that one lie by you, or it might be the world government is okay. Whatever. Be careful of personalities. Remember, and I'm accused of this all the time, but, the devil can appear as an angel of light. That's very true. What matters is the principles that they espouse and that they stand for. Everything else is a lie. A lot of you are saying some pretty good. Yeah, Kevin Honey, you're right. Yeah. The Virginia shooting was, they're going to use these things. He says they're about silencers, and the Supreme Court will not hear a case of them being part of the Second Amendment. Like I said, Trump is just, I can't trust him anymore. And my Republican insider is going to say, Roy, you've got a responsibility to tell these people. No, my friend. Trump, he put Canterbury in charge of the ATF. At least he put his name in. I don't know if it's been okayed yet, but this never stops. His talk there, when he was asked when he was over in London about how he feels about the Virginia shootings and the suspect used silencers, he said, "Oh yeah, those things worry me." No. He should have said, "Look, when you can clean up your problem in London with the stabbings," and he kind of said this, but he should have done it right out the gate. And he did go on later and talk about the importance of the Second Amendment, but he can't allow these things to be chipped away. And there he says, look, you've got these stabbings in London, right? I tell you what, when you can clean up your stabbings in London, then you, talking to Piers Morgan, for instance, then you can tell us about cleaning up our country. He's just not forceful enough. He talks a good line, but when it comes down to action, he never ever fulfills it. It's like I said from the beginning, when I started seeing these things shortly after he won the election, and they asked him, "Are you going to go after Hillary?" "Oh no, she's good people." What? The rhetoric has never, ever matched the reality on the ground. Is he constrained by those in his administration? Yes. Is he constrained by Congress? Yes. But it doesn't help when you put traitors into your administration. I've likened it before to Eisenhower bringing Himmler over and putting him in his war room. I don't care if he can't get these people to work for him. Get people that supported him. That was one of the big things that Cernovich said right off the bat, and that I said too. He complains about all this stuff, and he keeps hiring the wrong people. If he hired the wrong people in his business, it would fail. So why is he doing it there? It would almost be better not to fill the position. Now, I can't pat him on the back all the time, and I won't. I will not. And I said, if he put another person in a position that was counter Constitution and counter MAGA, And I've mulled over that for a little over a week, and I finally made the decision yesterday. That's why this is it, ladies and gentlemen. You'll have to go to those other people I mentioned, because I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going to get into a lot of this right now. I'm just not. Michael, yeah. You guys are having a good talk back and forth. Vince Palermo, I appreciate that. He says, keep the faith, Roy. The ultimate war has already been won. Well, thank you. No, Q's not real. Q's real. I mean, it's as real as CNN and ABC and CBS. But I'm sorry. I mean, look at the people that promote. I mean, there are a few decent ones. You know, I guess you could say, you know, although Lionel's backed off a little bit here lately, Lionel Nation. But Patriot Soapbox and those guys? Really? Really? I don't care what you believe. See, that's why I'm stopping this. I don't care anymore. You have your cults of personality, and you will not let go of them. You don't seem to be enjoying this. You're depressing others. Yeah, right. I'm not going to candy coat it anymore. Oh, I never have. We're in dire circumstance, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I'm going to say it. If Trump and Barr don't go after this thing with a double-edged sword, it's going to get stronger in the end. Do you understand that? It's like cutting the grass. The roots get stronger if you don't pull them up by the roots. Weeds, I guess I should say. No, I'm not enjoying this. I haven't really enjoyed this for some time. But I kept hoping that I would see results. I said I was going to stop if I didn't see anything by the 1st of March. Then my Republican insider convinced me to wait till April. And then this last week I hear, oh, the IG report's delayed. What? Why? I still think that they're going to go after a handful of people. But it's not going to be nearly as deep or as wide enough to save our republic. I just don't see it. I do not follow any Christian, Jewish. I don't follow any religious organization. All right? If it's in a brick building, in a structure somewhere, it's probably teaching a falsehood. Again, I was with my friend, my police officer friend. He's going to church. And it wasn't Mormon church. It was supposedly a Christian denomination. And it was good for the most part. It's helping him. He's going through some rough things. But immediately I realized that the preachers, and I'm not going to say much about them, but the preachers were violating, by the very words they were speaking, and even their very presence, they were violating the commandments that they supposedly espouse. And I see it all the time. It's not as important to know that I was thrown out of a church. What's important to know is that I rejected them before they did it. Just as I'm rejecting this coup and these leftist Marxists that have taken over our government. The shell of the government is still there, as I've talked about it before. The label on the bottle says one thing, but the contents have been changed. That's happened in our government, that's happened in our institutions, that's happened in our religious institutions. There is only one place to go to find God, and that is inside you. The kingdom of heaven is within you. trust the still small voice, because every other one will lie to you, knowingly or unknowingly. I'm not giving up. No eyes have seen, no ear has heard. It's not giving up. It's realizing that, look, I'm going to be 66 this year, all right? I've been doing this since I was 27. I gave you some names of some people that you can go to that I find extraordinary. Giving up? I tell you what, and I mean this sincerely. If President Trump wants my help, if the conservative voices out there want my help, come and ask me. But as I see it right now, it's really at a point where we better get our houses in order and get ready for what's coming. As I said at the end of that last video, those who are clean shall be clean still. Those who are filthy shall be filthy still. And I need not say anything any longer. The die is cast at this point. Potter is a mouth pie for the deep state. Where do you guys come from? You know, you would... I won't talk about that anymore. Bailout speech. Yeah, I guess I'm sick and tired of this. I appreciate everybody out there who's great. But the evil will not repent. Look at Nancy Pelosi. Look at Comey. They're not repenting. And there's only so much you can do to call them to repentance. And then there are these know-nothings that come on and want to talk about the things that they know nothing about. You just won't give up, will you? Dave Potter, can you explain your ties with the CIA? You believe your own lies, don't you? That's the last time I'm addressing you. Like, Analyze 39, I appreciate it. You say, really don't snuff out this light. See, that's what I mean. You know, you get these people like this dame of dichotomy who's obviously, if it's really a woman, if it's not a bot, it's a bitch. Right? Can you imagine being married to something like that? And then Analyzer 39 now says, Roy, don't snuff out this light. You're the first voice I seek every morning. And I really appreciate that. John Davila says, stinks, Roy, we need you. No. You all... The parameters have been set. Addressing every little issue, like I said at the beginning, is enumerating all the things that I could. I'd have to do it every single show. No, there's some other things I need to do. Like I said, if there's a time and a place, if I'm asked by the right people to come back, I will. But you know what? They call evil good and good evil. Most of them. And they're more concerned about their own well-being. And sometimes not even that. And I'm not making much sense here now because I don't want to attack anyone. But it's really there's a point at which you just got to stop trying. It's like I said, the Spirit of God will not always strive with man. Look at Trump. How many people have been praying for him? We have no military on the border. Diseases are coming across. First and Second Amendments are being trashed. We're having foreign wars. This thing in Iran, it's not good, but it's being milked. It's being cultivated so that it can turn into something bigger. Look at our agreements with them. I say, I hope that Trump slashes the Brits and the Australians and the Italian intelligence services to shreds. But you know what? I got to see it to believe it. Yeah, they're trying to get out ahead of the narrative right now, you know, with the things that they're doing because of the stuff that's going to be declassified. It's all a waste of time. Val, Roy is coming back, just a little break. Nah, don't bet on that. If I come back, you know what it's going to be? It's going to be showing like the mountain scene I did yesterday. It's going to be maybe some short movies of some sort, that kind of thing. I'm not going to talk anymore on this stuff. Those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, it's already been done. I know what to do action-wise. Remember, I said I would if I were in Trump's position. I know who I'd hire and put in those positions. I've even brought up names. I know. I mean, all of the difficulties, the threats that he's probably had. I don't know. But it's not like he couldn't have known about these things before he got in there. That's what's really going on here. Michael Powell, did you meet a potential Mrs. Who told you to hang it up? No. I date, but like I've said before, I mean, there are a couple of nice ladies out there that I have a lot of respect for, but you know, I'm picky. I'm real picky. I'm not desperate. I'm picky. And it's real sad, actually. It's real sad. People don't realize how they've been short-circuited in so many ways. It's not that I can't look past things. I can. That's not the issue. The issue is that you can't be unequally yoked. You just can't. No matter how nice it appears, you just can't. Suzik, yeah, I know Trump's done a lot for the country. Yeah. Gotten us to be more and more concerned about our money and our goods and our merchandise and our economy and, you know, money first. Yeah, he's done that. Where's his constitutional stand, Suzy Q? Because all the rest isn't going to matter as soon as he's gone. It'll all go back the way it was. And I've said that from the beginning. Unless he takes a firm stand on the principles of the Constitution, regardless of the consequences and the dangers, nothing else he does will matter. He won't even send the military to the border, something I thought he was going to do, remember? They're giving out meals and taxi rides. All right, we've been going for an hour and 15 minutes. Again, I'm not giving up. That's not the issue. No. The point is, you have other people that are doing great work, and I want you to go to them. Even Jesus said that. Took his apostles. He didn't stick around, right? He said, you apostles, I'm sending you out to the world. I'm done. I'm done preaching. I'm giving it over to you, and I've given you their names. And there are others, but just as an example, I'll give them to you again. You ready? Dan Bongino, Lee Stranahan, Black Conservative Patriot, Headlines with a Voice, The Still Report, American Intelligence Report, H.A. Goodman. I'm not leaving you in the lurch. I know how to take care of the problem with Iran and Russia. Okay? because there really isn't a problem with Russia. That's manufactured by our MIC and our deep state. There's a way to fix that. They should be our sister nation, just like Ann Coulter said years ago. They're a more righteous people than this country is. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm done. Thank you all for being here all this time. Like I said, I'll put up those two shorts that I had inside this as separate videos following this once this is uploaded. I really do, you know, I even though this has been agonizing in a lot of ways over the years, you know, I have a life, I have a social circle outside. I don't need this, you know, and you don't need just me. You need to open up, and I'm sure that you don't use just me anyway. I'm sure of that. You're not going to be missing anything. You've got to understand that the people in power don't want to really solve the problem because they don't see it as a problem. It's Machiavellian. The ends justifies the means. And until the people literally understand that they have no friends there, I don't care from the very top to the bottom, they have to understand that we've been subjugated, we've been betrayed, and it's always been that way through history. We'll see. Let's see who they collar in the next few months. Let's see who they do. Okay? I'm not anticipating any grand cleanup at this point. And until Trump gets strong on the first, second, and fourth, let's see here. I guess I ought to play this one as the last one going out. Nah, I haven't got anything more to say. God bless you. God bless yours. God bless the near-dead Constitutional Republic of the United States of America. Even Dan Bongino said the Republic's dead. He said that a week ago. I don't think it can be brought back. Remember, the beast made war with the saints and prevailed, and wore out the saints of the Most High. It's a short victory. You know, they lose in the long run because we finally end up getting the spirit of and the law of God in our hearts and minds somehow, some way, but it's not a lot of us. Consign the rest of them to their fate because they've chosen it. Keep your eyes on the horizon, your ears to the ground. Keep your situational awareness on high. And God bless. I'll still do it, but he's not accepting it, I don't think. He's got some standard preachers there that offer these prayers of no consequence in the White House. If you don't follow the principle, don't ask for help. But God bless Donald Trump and all of his righteous endeavors. And may the Lord give him the spirit of the discernment that will descend upon him as the dews from heaven, that he will know the right from the wrong and have the courage above all else to do the right thing. And I'm done. Goodbye.
That's a man I'll miss. I would light up when I seen that he went live in the mornings. I would literally light up. You could ask Jen I would run all the way. I'd be in the kitchen, run all the way from the kitchen to the living room as quick as I could, drop everything, and get him turned on, and then listen to him while I was going about my day doing whatever it was I was doing. There's not really anybody that I just drop everything for at the blink of an eye to hear what they've got to say. So, God bless you, Roy. There's not a whole lot I'll say you're wrong about, but I will say you're wrong about this. We do need you. I don't watch any of those other channels that you mentioned. Not one of them. I've listened to you because I trusted your message. And I know they may be giving a very similar message, but not like you did. So God bless you, Roy, and goodbye, sir. Let me go ahead and get the headlines done and out of the way. I know Jen's getting anxious to get on a rant, and I know that's an extremely long monologue, but it is what it is. So let me get this closed up. There has been more news that I have tweeted out since, or I should say during Roy's video, and I'm telling you, I hope you're ready. I hope you're prepared. I hope you're prepared. We'll be going over it as we cover the headlines, and you'll see coming up to the end of the headlines exactly why I say that. Okay, starting out from one from last night. A Japanese research center has assessed that there are currently 13,880 nuclear warheads in the world, and around 20 to 30 of them are held by North Korea. That may be accurate, but I would say that Iran probably has some, maybe not many, and North Korea could have more. Don't know. But 13,880 is about 13,880 more than this planet needs. Let's see. Iran rescues 44 sailors from 2 oil tankers after suspected attack in Gulf of Oman. That is part of why I'm saying you better damn well be ready. Let's see here. Front Altair oil tanker drowns in Gulf of Oman, Lebanese media claims. The UK Home Secretary signs request for Assange's extradition to the US. Turkey slams Pentagon's ultimatum on S-400s, refuses to reverse decision. We've been saying that the entire time. Turkey has not budged, not even the least little bit, has not budged on their decision. Trump supports special visas for Venezuelan refugees fleeing a carnage that he helped create. Trump sells more U.S. troops and LNG to Poland while bashing Russian gas supply to EU. Environmental NGO finds Monsanto chemical in Cheerios and other foods marketed to children. Been warning about this too. Hey, they don't have to put it on the label. That's already been through court, and people had challenged that, trying to make it to where it had to be labeled, and failed. They do not have to tell you whether or not GMOs are in a food product. But yet people run and trust the FDA and all of that. Boy, you better get your vaccines, and no, don't take kratom, and stay away from CBD oil, and oh my God, vaping's the demon. Google staff keep blacklist of conservative and fringe sites. Sure, nobody's surprised by that. 2 pipe bombs found near Bonnaroo Music Festival in Tennessee. I did get a chuckle out of somebody that commented on the Facebook page, something to the effect of, Thank God the 24 people expected to attend weren't hurt. Bernie Sanders blasts Trump as socialist for rich and powerful. U.S.-led airstrike obliterates friendly Afghan unit in another tragic mishap. U.S. must develop new way of war or risk defeat to Russia and China, says a think tank. There are a lot of people, this is a Pentagon think tank, okay? I've been saying this stuff over and over and over and over. If we don't pull the flagpoles out of our butts so we can think straight, we're going to be hurting. For years we've had presidents and administrations that refused to put money into the advancement of our military and their weaponry. Refused. Starting with Bush Jr., right? I mean, Clinton didn't put a whole lot in our military either. In fact, he hurt our military severely. Bush Jr. hurt our military. To be honest, we haven't had a president that's given a damn about the military since Reagan. Okay, but there was still money going into it, and there were still projects being funded. And that ended pretty much completely by the time Bush Jr. rolled around, and stayed that way up until Trump got into office. And during that entire time, these other countries were still in development. So we are behind. That's just the way it is. And those that are actually doing the legwork, doing the research into this, understand this. And that's why they and I keep saying, man, we do not want to do this. And I get it. We've got a lot of weapons that of course are unknown and that are just mind-blowing. And in some cases, I'm sure literally. Okay, but they've got them too. They've got them too. Guarantee you, they've used that time wisely and developed the hell out of weapons. So the structures are set up different with those countries and with our country. With our country, we funnel the money into private industry, into private corporations, the military-industrial complex. And they overcharge because, you got to pay your buddies, and underproduce. Overcharge, underproduce. Just take a look at the whole F-35 project as proof. And these other countries don't do that. They don't set up their military defense as a way to make profits for their friends. You can get a hell of a lot of stuff done when profit isn't the focus. So it's just where we're at, just the way it is. Let's see here. Israel strikes Gaza in retaliation for rocket attack. Not an interference. Trump would listen if foreigners offered dirt on 2020 opponents. And Pakistan eyes arms from Russia and better ties with Moscow in changing world, says their PM. Russia stays clear of U.S.-China trade war, but roots for strategic partner, says Putin, meaning China. Iran says it rescued 44 sailors after... Oh, I already read that headline. I don't know if I shared that twice or what. Pompeo woos India with secure 5G, arms sales, and nuke project after recent tensions. That stuff's important to pay attention to. Russia bringing back the gold standard may kill U.S. dollar and solve main problem of cryptocurrencies. Trump considering sanctions against Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline to protect Germany from Russia. I told you that they were going to go after Russia over that pipeline. And we are far from seeing the end of this. Pakistan wants peace with India, says resolving tensions through military is madness. I would agree. I would agree. Usually the leaders, the heads of military want war. I don't see how you can solve conflict using people that want to fight, that want to create conflict. That is madness. Suspicious doesn't begin to describe what happened. Iran's FM on tanker attacks in Gulf of Oman. So that was Iran's foreign minister. Okay? Remember that. Extradition order to send Assange to U.S. poses existential threat to all truth seekers, says Galloway. Without a doubt. That's an understatement. If Iran wanted nukes, America couldn't do anything about it, says the Ayatollah Khomeini. Dozens of Memphis police injured after fatal shooting sparks violent clashes. Russian Air Force targets militants in Syria's Idlib at request of Turkish military. Western oil supplies could be jeopardized if Strait of Hormuz becomes unsafe, tanker union claims. Photos show massive fire on attacked oil tanker in Gulf of Oman. Tehran calls for securing of strategic waterways after tankers attacked in Gulf of Oman. Let's see. Iran shouldn't be hastily blamed for Gulf of Oman tanker attack, says Moscow. Cold War is over. Pakistan PM mulling arms deals with Moscow ahead of SCO summit. A burning tanker filmed by Iran after attacks in Gulf of Oman. There's video of it. Nobody can give ultimatum to Turkey. Ankara's FM foreign minister rejects U.S. demand to drop S-400 deal with Russia. They said no. YouTube removes Project Veritas video. Veritas. That's why I was trying to say Veritas. YouTube removes Project Veritas video on Pinterest censorship of conservative views. Russia gold and foreign exchange reserves exceed $500 billion. Okay, and literally I have 11 more tweets since I started the show here. I'm working my way to it. Okay. And this shouldn't be any surprise. Pompeo blames Iran for attack on tankers in Gulf of Oman. Gulf of Oman tankers incident and invitation to war, question mark, of course. Press Secretary Sarah Sanders is leaving the White House, says Trump. And that sucks. I liked her. I thought she did a wonderful job, especially in the light of everything. She was awesome. Speed, performance, privacy, and pain. But Pentagon says F-35 issues have acceptable workarounds. They've been saying that since the very beginning of the project. The plane sucks. Give it up. I'm a plane nut. I love planes, right? That plane sucks. Roseanne Barr says Hollywood taboos will be the death of comedy. U.S. officials quick to blame Iran again, obviously. U.S. general says NATO surrounds Serbia, but Russia is the problem. Of course, Russia. Instagram down, users report mass worldwide service outages. Michigan Attorney General drops criminal charges in Flint water crisis, renews investigation. And we'll see where that goes. Could be a good thing, it might not. U.S. Navy destroyer en route to Oman Gulf in wake of oil tanker attacks. And this is pretty much the same way, said a little bit different. U.S. sends destroyer to Gulf of Oman tanker incident site as Pentagon says no interest in new war. Right. Okay, so that is the headlines. Let me go ahead and get this extremely long 2-hour monologue closed up so that we can get on with the Gangsta Giggles rant and then go on from there. So, wow. So if you're here for the live show, stick around. Don't go anywhere. Don't do anything. We'll be live till 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you're just here for the monologue or you're watching the recording later on, thank you very much. As always, God bless you, we love you, and be one with your spirit.